A little over 3 years ago, I reached out to Acon Trampolines to see if they would be willing to collaborate, and I was lucky enough to receive one of their premium round backyard all-season trampolines. And for the past 3 years, I have been using this nearly every time I train. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, and with my nearly 200 pounds jumping on this thing, it has stood the test of time. That is why this year when Acon agreed to send me the all-new Air 4.6 from their new lineup, well, I was so stoked to test it out and make this review. This is the review, but you gotta focus. So this entire trampoline and safety net system came in 3 boxes, and they were heavy. That's me using a longboard to transport the final 2 boxes because I'm too lazy to borrow a dolly. But as you'll see in this video, aside from this trampoline being very heavy, the assembly of this trampoline was actually very easy, and I did it all myself.
These look like nice springs.
After I unboxed everything, looking at the instructions, it seemed like the hookup was very simple. You just take one of these base pieces and you clip 2 of these extenders into this base piece. Now, a side note, something new to this model, different from my old, on these extenders, there's attachments for where the poles of the net will go in, which as you'll see later, making the net hookup so much easier than it was on my old model. If you saw the video I made 3 years ago on the old model, my biggest complaint was how hard and time consuming it was to hook up the safety net. So hopefully not this time.
It's heavy duty.
Anyways, I did this initial step 5 times and then I arranged them in a circle that was about the guesstimated size the trampoline was going to be. For the next step, you simply take one of these curved top pieces and you connect 2 of the base pieces together until the entire circle can freestand on its own. Now to complete the circle, you take another one of these curved pieces without any legs on it to go in between the ground pieces itself. And to get this in, if it's a little tough, all you really have to do is put one side in, then go to the other side, push it out slightly, line it up, and then pull it back in. And I just did this 5 more times, and the entire base piece I had up in about 5 minutes. Okay, but now it was time to put on the trampoline jump pad. Now speaking of heavy duty, Acon informed me that this jump pad was their thickest and safest yet. And as I unwrapped and spread this thing out, I could really tell the commercial-like quality of this jump pad being so much thicker than your typical sporting goods store trampoline. Now once spread out, they recommend locating one of these start here stickers on the frame, and if this is where you want the door to be, you start here with the first spring. And then when you put the pad on to make it easier, they recommend attaching it to the pad spring hole that has the blue indicator on it. From here, to make the jump pad hookup the smoothest, it's recommended you go to the opposite side and hook up the opposite side spring next. This did require some counting for me to be sure I was putting the spring in the right loop, both on the frame and the trampoline pad. I counted 55 insert holes from the first spring, then I put another spring in there to indicate where it was, and then I went back to the start and counted 55 loopholes in the trampoline jump pad, and then I attached the 2. I then did the 2 other sides by counting out 27 holes from the start, and then from here I counted to about the middle of each of these springs, and then going to the opposite side, doing that side, and opposite side, opposite side, opposite side. Now as the springs got tighter, I used this spring tensioner tool that it came with. It's this simple hook looking thing, but it really helps. After I put a certain amount of springs on, I then just started installing springs randomly until all of the springs were in. Now it's not recommended you jump on the trampoline like this because none of the safety features are installed yet, but of course I was gonna test it out at my own risk. Smooth, man, and do I say handled my near 200 pounds perfectly fine, and I must say I could just feel that Acon solid quality through the feet. You can just tell the jump pads, springs, and frame are all just premium and heavy duty. It's a different feel. It feels like commercial quality, if that makes any sense. Okay, but before I got too carried away, it was time for me to put on the safety net. So this is the part on the previous model that was very time consuming, frustrating, and well, apparently for this new model, they improved the hookup process of the safety net. So I just roughly spread out the safety net on top of the trampoline. Now to start, you want to line up with the blue thread where you began the first spring with the blue thread on the safety net. And to hook this up, you simply push this plastic piece through the spring hole loop And then there's this little notch that lightly catches onto the spring to help prevent it from coming back out. Now after getting this first notch through, they actually recommend hooking up all of the trampoline safety net poles next, which are just 2 of these pieces clipped together. And then these easily clip into all of the notches on the legs of the trampoline, which was so much easier than bolting it on like in the previous model. Now the next step that was also way easier than the previous model to assemble was erecting the net. You start at the first spring with the blue markers, and there's this one leather-like sheath that they want you to put over the first pole. It has a little strap at the top that simply ties into the first notch on the net, and this is the only pole that you need to put this sheath on. So you tie it in and simply clip the pole into the attachment on the leg of the trampoline. And then you just go around the trampoline and pop these safety net caps on the safety net poles.
Okay, so far this net's going on like a million times easier than the last time. And hopefully now, we'll see, with these little pieces down here that the bottom part will go in easy. And the last time we had to like weave with like this shoelace, this super long shoelace.
So luckily this time, no weaving the net in. Rather, you push the remaining circles on the safety net into the spring loophole just like the first one. Now it's recommended you start putting the net in at all of the poles first to keep the tension more even and hopefully make the install easier. So this is what I did, and from here I just filled in the gaps in between the holes. And this was such an easier way to install the net than trying to weave it through with like a giant shoelace. Now something that made it easier as the safety net got tighter is I kind of grabbed the net and pulled it as I used my other hand to push in the little notch into the spring hole. Now after this, I was basically done. All I had to do next was install the circular trampoline spring pad. And for that, you use these little bungee cords through these little loops on the pad. Now if you don't have skinny fingers, you might find it a little difficult to get the bungee cord to go in and out of this loop, but I figured out a way to make it more simple. Create a little space behind these holes by pinching them with your fingers, and then using the spring tensioner tool to fish the bungee cord through the second loop. From there, you just loop it around the frame and voila. And then you do this several more times in the remaining holes of the trampoline spring pad, and then the pad is secured to the trampoline. Finishing it off, connecting the spring pad together with the final Velcro, I then assembled the ladder, and that was it. The trampoline was complete and ready to bounce. Now, like I mentioned earlier, in my opinion, you can really feel the quality of this trampoline when you jump on it. Like, it just feels robust. But I must say, at the same time to having this solid frame build, the response of the jump feels exceptional. Now over the next couple of weeks as I tested this thing out, safety features and all, I can say that I am truly excited to use this as my primary trampoline for relearning tricks, practicing new tricks, getting an insane workout, and just having fun. Now if you guys are interested in an Acon trampoline, I am an affiliate with Acon, and I will leave my affiliate link in the description below. The day I'm posting this video, November 13th, 2025, is actually the first day of the new lineup. So if you are interested, get one while you can. A little bonus feature I figured out myself that wasn't in the instructions, and I don't even know if it was intended, but is gonna be awesome for me, is just how easy it is for this net to semi come apart. If I want to throw like a tarp over this thing or something like that, you can literally just pop the caps off of each of the net poles and then just pop the poles out of the trampoline, and I just set them in the middle, and then I put this optional pad on top of the trampoline to create like a slope so that water would run off, and then I just threw a tarp over it and kind of bungeed it to the side. Not that this is necessary, but if for any reason you want to have your trampoline unjumpable or just cover it from the elements, I was able to do this in like 2 minutes. And then when it came to the reassembly of the partially disassembled net, it only took about another 3 minutes. Super cool for me, especially now that I'm trying to adult more and, you know, take better care of my stuff. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Shout out to Acon Trampolines. It's been a pleasure working with them for the past few years. Stay tuned, more videos coming out. I hope you guys all have a great day. Peace. I will see you all in the next video.